Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape,
vinyl tape, carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Okay.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneur Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. And for you old heads out there, University of Pittsburgh, this is going to be a great interview. I got my brother Butch on the line. Brother Butch, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing, Kev? I'm doing all right.
Seem like you fiddling with your phone or your equipment. What's going on over there?
Oh, I had to plug it in, man. I just realized I'm on like about 2% battery, so I said, let me plug this in so I won't the car won't drop.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got you, man. I got you. Got you. So here's where we've got, man. So the first thing I've got to ask you is, it wasn't until we got older that I realized you had another name, just like Eddie Mack, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I knew you. I was introduced to you at Pitt by the name of Butch.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because my name is James Goodwin.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I was probably 38 years old that I asked my mother, where did she come up with the name Butch?
Okay.
And so she explained to me that all the men in the family on both her side and my dad's side all had the first name of James.
Yes.
So everyone had either a nickname or something. And at the time, there was no more names to be used. So I guess in 1965, they just said, okay, we're going to call him Butch. That's a typical nickname back then. So that's where it came from.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it stuck.
Yeah. The impromptu, infamous, famous photographer. What is going on, brother? It's like every now and then there will be a Facebook posting or a Facebook memory, and there is some picture that you have done. So how'd you get into photography, though, man?
Well, so I was at a summer camp, and this was back in 1972 or 73. I think I was either 7 or 8 years old, and the kids were given an opportunity to take some class.
Yes.
And I remember I signed up for photography, and I remember watching the instructor print that first picture in the darkroom.
Yes.
And that print came up, and I instantly said, man, that's what I want to do right there. And like I said, I was like 7 or 8 years old. I got my first camera when I was in the 4th or 5th grade.
Yes.
And the funny thing I still have those same pictures that I took back then.
Wow.
And I've just been doing it ever since, man,
Wow. So when was your first paid gig as a young entrepreneur doing photography?
I would have to say probably in the 11th grade, I shot a wedding.
Okay.
And I only got paid $250, but back then I thought that was a lot of money. But all through high school, I shot for the yearbook. It's funny because I used to shoot the football games every Friday.
Yes.
And by Monday, I'd have a stack of 8x10s on me. So I'd walk around the school to the different football players or the different cheerleaders. Hey, you want to buy this picture? $5. So even to this day, you know, when those folks from McKinley High School see me, they say, "Oh, that's the picture man," you know, because I would always carry black and white photos. Still got still got all my negatives from back then too, you know. So that's, you know, that was the first time, yeah, man. And I was taking pictures even in junior high school, in the eighth and ninth grade, I was selling pictures.
Wow, that's crazy, man. You know, my father was a photographer. He thought he was a professional photographer.
Okay.
And my father, you know, he from the old school, right? He believed that when he was taking your picture, you had to have the whole body in the picture. So sometimes that meant he could be 30 feet away from you just to get the whole body. I'm like, Daddy, 30 years from now, people are not going to know. Get the close up, get the face, get the expression.
Yep, that's right. The face is important.
Yeah, so my father has passed on. So every now and then when I do a close-up of somebody's face, I kind of chuckle, you know, because I'm always remembering the conversation I had with my father. Daddy, get up closer, get up closer.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time when they want to borrow my camera to shoot like a kickball game. I say, look, I always reference Sports Illustrated, but of course, a lot of young people they've never even read that magazine. I'm like, get up close, man. If we can't see the expression on the players' faces, then I can't use it, you know. So
because you know, 6 months from now, a year from now, you're not going to remember that person. Get the expression, and try to get some of the background into it because that'll give you some hint. But the other stuff that my father would want to get the whole body, I say, Daddy, why are you standing so far away?
No, I tell you.
But Butch, how have you been, man? What brought you to Pitt, though, brother?
Man, I've been doing pretty good. I can't complain. Well, when I was in high school, I didn't want to go to Pitt. I wanted to go to New York Film Academy, but my mother felt that, you know, photography and film wasn't, you know, a good choice of living because she, you know, in D.C. the thing was, you know, you did federal government. You worked there for 30 years and you retired and you had a good, you know, it was security. I didn't want that.
Yes.
So anyway, so I had applied to different art schools and she said, no, we're not having that, bro. So her friend, Mr. Kinlow, had a son, Gene Kinlow, that went to Pitt.
Yes.
And she said, hey, apply at Pitt. So Pitt gave me a lot of money for the USEP program. They gave me a single room in a co-ed dorm.
Yes.
And they had a good medical program because my first major was biology.
Yes.
So I said, okay, you know what? I grew up in D.C., in a chocolate city, and a mentor said, hey, you know what? Maybe you should go and go to a more diverse school. You know, you've been around, you know, black folks all your life, man. You know, try something a little different. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to Pitt, sight unseen, you know. And I remember the first day she dropped me off, and I was like, what? Where am I? What is this place? You know, it definitely shocked me, and I definitely wasn't prepared for it, man. I definitely was out of my element, you know. But it turned out to be a great experience.
Absolutely, because you lived on the third floor, right?
I sure did. Yep.
And you were on the you were on the other side of the hall of me.
Yeah, right there. Yep, right there.
Yeah.
And I can still hear your music too at my end. I'm like, man, this dude, turn this stuff down.
You brought the you and Gary brought the DC Go-Go, man. That was all right. That's all
sure
right.
Did.
Yeah.
Yep. And you had that house music with the 30-inch woofers in your room.
all day. But you know, one of the things that I found funny was that no matter where we went, if there was a school activity, Butch, you were there. Do you still have all those pictures, man?
I do, man. I do. And every so often, I kind of pull them out and I scan them.
Yes.
The thing is, I shot a lot of slides. And I'm trying to remember, why did I shoot slides? I probably shot slides because it was cheaper.
Yes.
And I always knew that eventually I could turn my slides into photos if I needed to. But that was the thing back then, was to shoot slides. I also shot a lot of black and white because I had a dark room in my room.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd print pictures up at night and, you know, sell them if I could, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I shot everything if I could, man, you know.
Yeah, because it's like I guess, fortunately, you are our connection because nobody really had a camera back then. So if you wanted to remember someone, they would say, check with Butch or wait till Butch puts those pictures out. So, you know, what are you doing with those photos now, man? Have you thought about archiving them or creating a Facebook page for them?
Well, I've been trying to have some time to scan them. It's just such a long process. So I may have scanned in probably about 400 pictures right now, but I mean, I got thousands of pictures. I mean, I'm talking thousands I got boxes of slides. from
Wow.
all different events from '83 up to the last year I left in '88.
Yes.
And it's even funnier because in '88 I bought my first video camera.
Yes.
So I got a bunch of videos that I shot, and I'm like, wow, I remember this stuff, man. So
Wow, man.
every so often I put it on my this Instagram page that I have just for old pit pictures, and I also put them up on the Facebook pages.
Yes.
But I haven't scanned anything in probably in the last maybe 8 months.
Okay.
I need to just get back on it.
Got you. Now, what was your what would you say was your overall experience at Pitt?
I would definitely say it was a great experience.
Yes.
I didn't do too well academically because
Yes.
I just wasn't interested in. And I'm a person. I have to be interested in the subject in order to really excel at it. So I was just there. I always tell my grandmother the biggest thing I learned from being at Pitt was how to socialize.
Yes.
I hung out with three great guys, Big Tuck, Tony Tone, and Scott.
Yeah.
And they really brought out my personality. And
Yes.
And I was the type where I would do very well one semester, go down the next semester. And the semesters I went down was the semester I did more partying, more
Gotcha.
hanging out, took more pictures. I was just, but it was a great experience that I didn't want to leave. My mother said, why don't you transfer to HBCU? And I was like, I'm having so much fun up here. I just can't do it. I
Gotcha.
meet all these great people. I just didn't want to leave, man. I had a good experience, man.
Yeah. Now, would you? So I guess in the conversation so far, you would really encourage people just to follow their dreams, their passion.
Oh, definitely. When I taught high school for 13 years, I would tell my students, definitely do what you love.
Yes.
I watched my mother work in the federal government, and every day she came home and she complained and she hated it,
Yes.
and she wanted to be a chef and a farmer. And I was just like, why don't you do it? And she would say, well, I got 3 mouths to feed. I got rent to pay,
Yes.
So I would tell the kids, just follow your dreams, man. Just make it work, and then you'd be a lot more happier at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Because again, even with the trials and tribulations that one may go through in life,
right?
If you're pursuing your passion, it makes those challenges and trials and tribulations a whole lot easier because at the end of the day you're working towards something that you're passionate about, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So because I think the last time that I saw you, I was in DC, was probably 7 years ago.
Oh, I can't remember.
You
Could have been.
You were managing a club.
Oh
DC.
yeah, Zanzibar. That's right.
Zanzibar in DC, and somehow
Yep.
we connected, and I came down, and we had a blast. I had a
Yep,
blast.
I remember that now.
Yeah, it's about 7 years ago, right?
Yep, that's about right. They didn't close that club down, man.
Yeah. So now what are you doing now? Because you have the Outdoor Adventure Club now or something? Goomba?
Yeah. So what I do is I came up with a company called Goombay Adventurers.
Goomba Adventurers, yes.
Now, it didn't start off with that name, but eventually got to that name. And what we do is we host and coordinate outdoor adventure trips for African American adults and teens.
Yes.
We also do sports leagues and socials.
Yes.
And I've been doing that really ever since I got back from college in '88. Well, let me just say this: '88 was my first party.
Yes.
We did something that fit. It was a flop, but I realized, okay, you know what? This didn't turn out too well. So I'm going to make this thing work when I got back to DC.
Yes.
So that's what I do with Goombay, and it's been pretty successful over the past 30 years.
Yeah, because you have over 3,000 followers or something like that.
Yeah, probably a little more than that.
Wow, because every now and then it comes across my Facebook page, and you're doing like hiking trips. I think one week you went to a wine festival.
Yeah, that was last week. We went to the wine festival. Yeah, we had 3 buses of people. Yeah, so we do a lot of social events because what I learned is that in order to get African Americans out into the woods, this is back in the '90s. I had to throw parties to say on the mic, "Hey, we're going out camping or we're going whitewater rafting."
Yeah.
So I had to have a voice. And back then we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was mailing flyers and with postage stamps. So that was my way of getting black folks into it,
Gotcha.
back then. But we still do social events as well.
Gotcha. Because black folks, we just don't like the woods like that.
No, they definitely do. Now they do.
Yeah,
a lot of them are getting into it now, but not back in the 90s.
Yeah, like, man, like, ain't no bear coming after me or some crazy
Right.
fool with a knife.
No Jason, none of that
None
stuff,
of that,
man.
right?
Our folks didn't like that. Yep.
So what was the risk associated when you started that company?
Well, the risk is always failure.
Okay.
But I remember the first time I failed was I was going to shoot the Sigma Cabaret. This may have been when I was a junior, so
Yes.
I would say probably 85.
Yes.
So Eddie Mack, he said, "Hey, Butch, you come in and you can be the sole photographer.
Yes.
You bring your backdrop, your Polaroid camera, you shoot, make your money." I said, "Cool. All right." Went to downtown Pittsburgh, bought all this equipment, backdrops, lights, Polaroid camera, film, everything.
Yes.
Got to the cabaret, and my boy Tuck and Tone was helping me set up. Took my test shots, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, all right, great, this looks good. Went to load another pack of film. I had bought the wrong film. Bought a whole case of the wrong film.
Whoa.
And I looked at it. There was nothing else I could say. So I just told Tuck and Sky, "Hey, man, let's pack this stuff up. Let's roll." And my boy looked at me and said, "What's wrong? You all right?" I said, "Man, I bought the wrong film. Man, I messed up, man. I messed up." So we, afterwards, we just went out drinking, I just realized, I said, you know what? It didn't work that time, but you know what? I just learned that everything is not going to be perfect all the time.
Absolutely.
And I tell my students this: if you want to learn how to succeed, you have to learn how to fail.
Yes.
So
Yes.
between that and my first party, which was an ice skating party during finals, I don't know why we even did this party.
Yes.
And that was a failure too, but as I got to DC and you just start doing stuff, you realize, you know what? Hey, what the hell? If I fail, I fail. But you know what? Nothing beats a failure but a try.
Absolutely.
So that's my thing now.
Absolutely.
So I don't even worry about failing at this point,
Well, I mean, you've got 30 years under your belt. You've got great
Yeah.
credibility. You got great name recognition. So
Yeah.
it's when you put your stamp of approval on it, everybody's going to show up.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, because one of the things that I teach, in my classes is
Mm-hmm.
something similar, right?
Okay.
Be consistent. Be consistent.
Right.
Stay the course. Be
Yep, that's
consistent.
true.
Stay the course. And at some point, right,
Mm-hmm.
the success is going to be yours, because you can replicate that process over and over and over again.
That's true.
It's just plugging and playing right then.
Yep,
But
that's
yeah.
true.
Now,
It's interesting that you said be consistent, because I was just telling a new entrepreneur that the other day,
yes.
and she was doing a trip, and I always tell people, I don't cancel,
Yes.
even for outdoor stuff. I don't care if it's raining, monsoon. People in my circle, they know, oh, Butch don't cancel nothing,
Got you.
Got
Got
And I told her the same thing. I said, if you start to cancel things, then that means that people are going to not trust that you're going to do it because you may cancel.
Yes.
So when you say consistent, I definitely agree with you, man. You got to stay
Yes.
consistent with it.
Even if just one person comes out, you got to you got to keep it. You got to do it. You got to do
That's
it.
true. Yeah.
It may hurt it's going to hurt your pocket, but you've got to do it.
That's right.
That's the unfortunate downside as to being an entrepreneur, and especially being in your industry, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What made you do this this outdoor company?
Well, I've always liked being in the woods. I mean, I grew up as a Boy Scout. I grew up at that summer camp I was telling you about, and it just made a major impact on me because I'm a kid growing up in Southeast.
Yes.
During the summer, you got all the crime, all the helicopters flying around. And getting in the woods, it just brought a whole different perspective of life.
Yes.
And being a Boy Scout, backpacking with this troop. And we went like every 3 weeks,
Wow.
and it just made me feel like my personality is changing because of this experience.
Yes.
And when I would go home, I said, man, if I could get these cats around the neighborhood to do some of this stuff, it would change their lives. Maybe they wouldn't smoke so much or drink so much or shoot crap so much or, and even playing basketball. I mean, I taught the folks in the neighborhood how to play soccer on the street. They were just playing basketball and football. And they said, okay, we'll play soccer. All right, cool. So anyway, so that's what got me to start this. I came home in '88 and I wanted to, go hiking and go rafting. But I wanted to go with my people.
Yes.
So I said, okay, I'm going to do a whitewater rafting trip. for Black folks.
Yes.
And once I did the first trip, it was successful. I had 30 people. I said, I bet I could do this as a living. You know,
Yeah.
I would love doing this. So that's how it kind of all started, you know.
Wow. So now, is there a membership to participate in your group, or is just all, fee based on activity?
It's fee based on activities. I don't have any membership, so I always tell people, because folks always ask me, can I be a part of the club? I said, there's no club.
Okay.
If you see something you like, just come on, just join.
Okay.
I mean, we take everybody, and sometimes we'll have some white folks who hit me up. Hey, do you all take white people? I see it's a Black group. I said, man, we take all types. Come on, we don't discriminate. We have a good time with everybody.
Yeah.
So if you see any events, any sports, you just sign up.
But membership might be something good, because then you can offer some exclusive packaging.
That's true. I thought about that a couple of years ago. I did think about that. Yeah.
And that might, because again, everybody wants that exclusivity, knowing that I've gone on this trip with a small group of people, but no one else is going to have this experience, right?
That's true. That is true.
And people will pay for that. Just like going to a restaurant. If I can sit at the top level and that's going to cost me $1,000 more, but no one else can sit up there, people will do that too. I guess the young folks call it flossing or flexing, right?
Right. Yeah, that's not a bad idea too. Especially with this young group. You're right.
Yeah, because the young group, that they want to be seen and they want that level of exposure, right? May not remember it a year from now, but they want to say that's what they've done.
That's true. True. And I guess sometimes I have to get out of my old ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I got it.
We weren't,
because this is the podcast, the Entrepreneur Enclave podcast. I got to ask this question, Butch.
Okay.
When you started the company, did you write a business plan?
So in the early 90s, I started my business plan.
Okay.
But I'd already been doing stuff prior to this.
Yes.
So in my mind, I'm like, I said to myself, why do I need this? I know what I want to do. It's all in my head. I understand the purpose of one, but I have never fully written a business plan. No.
Gotcha. So
I'm
going to encourage you to write that business plan now, because watch how your business will grow exponentially, because in that business plan, when it comes to marketing, you can also talk about the membership and why that might be good to a certain demographics.
That's true. Okay. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna look into that now. I'm gonna pull out the old one that I started years ago.
But at least you got it started, though.
I did start it now.
Yeah.
I started. It was a nice start.
Yeah.
And I think I just got frustrated, and I said, you know what? I'm the doer type. Okay,
Gotcha.
we're gonna do this weekend.
Gotcha.
And then also when back then, I had a DJing company, and I had my photography and video company.
Yes.
So I was doing all three at one time until this old cat hit me and said, look, man, you got to narrow it down to one good thing. You're doing photography, video, computer graphics. I was doing flyers too.
Yes.
And Goombay and leagues. He said, you got to just focus on one and make that one great instead of having six and making it okay,
Yes.
So definitely.
Gotcha. Now, how did the name Goombay come about?
Okay, so Eddie Mack, Gary from Pitt, is going to always, say that that he helped with his name, which he really did. So I went to a event at Pitt my sophomore year. It was called the Sigma Goombay.
Yes.
And I remember going, you were there because I got pictures of you and all of the football players there, and it was like a Hawaiian type of event. It was a cookout. It was a free cookout. Everybody had a good time, and in my mind, I said, hey, that's an interesting name, Goombay. Yes. And it just kind of stuck with me.
Gotcha.
So in the early 90s, I got back here and I started doing a Goombay cookout.
Yes.
Which, it was based around activities. So you come to the cookout, it's not just sitting around eating, it's eating, mixing and mingling, and playing games. So the kids had their relay games. We had softball game going on, football, kickball. We had all this stuff. And after a while, the word Goombay, people started associating that, with me. My original name was Urban Outfitters Club of Washington, D.C.
I don't like
but
that.
Of course, it was just way too long, but I couldn't think of anything. That's when I got stuck on my business plan. I said, this is not a good name. And then Urban Outfitters store opened up in Georgetown, so I definitely couldn't use that anymore. So I said, you know what? Let me see. Goombay, okay, it means there's some meaning to this, which is it's a festival in the Bahamas. So it does have some ethnicity to it. And I said, okay, you know what? No one owns it. I looked it up. There was a jean company that dropped the name. So I said, okay, let's go with this, and it just kind of fit. And then of course, when the age of the internet came in,
yes,
nobody was using Goombay.com or Goombay.net, so it was easy to get,
I love
URLs and all that stuff for it. So that's how it came about.
I love it. Now, where have been some of the places that the Goombay crew has traveled to?
Well, let me see. Wow. I mean, we've definitely gone to Jamaica. We've definitely done a ton of rafting trips, backpacking trips. We're trying to get some backpacking trips to Yellowstone. We had 2 set up prior to COVID, and that shut it down. So we're going to pick that back up next year. We got a cruise at the end of the year. So we've done a lot of adventurous stuff, but we also run a very big kickball league and kickball tournament.
Yes.
So, and we're going on, almost 12 years of that. Okay. So, and we're probably one of the biggest, and I always call it urban kickball programs in the country, because there is a market. I mean, there's a whole world of black kickball. I call it black kickball.
Yeah.
Because I'm old school. But you'd be surprised. People just be surprised how popular kickball is, So, so we have a whole bunch of leagues and tournaments that go on throughout the year. So
one of the things that I find so interesting as I'm talking to you, Butch, is you've taken something that we find great joy in doing just in our leisure time, and you've turned that into a business, and you've turned it into a place where people can just come and just have recurring activity. Now, when you're thinking about going to Yellowstone, how does that work? You also have another business that provides everybody with backpacks and things, or people have to bring their own backpack?
Well, we have a lot of equipment already.
Okay.
We just took a group called Soul Trek out backpacking this past weekend.
Yes.
So we have our own equipment. But something like Yellowstone, what we did was we connected with 2 other groups in that area in California that I found on Instagram. I mean, it's a good thing about social media.
Yes.
So they helped us put the trip together, So working with other black outdoor groups is a major plus.
Yes.
Because now we can go to the Ozarks because, and I'm going to say her name, Debbie has her group out there, and we can kind of connect and collaborate. Or I can go out to Yellowstone with Kate A and her group. You know what I mean? So it works out that way that we can always connect, and do these kind of trips.
Now, do you find that there's a lot of black folks that are attracted to the outdoors now? Why is that?
Well, I think COVID definitely pushed blacks to doing more outdoor stuff.
Gotcha.
In the past 2 years, and I'll just say in DC, we've gone from having 3 black hiking groups to probably 20.
What?
Oh yeah, definitely, especially during COVID. Wow. And now, granted, everything's opened up right now. So out of that 20, it's probably dropped down to 10 solid groups that continuously do stuff.
Yes.
But I mean, between, and I call it black RVing, the RV community, they do a lot of stuff. The car camping group does a lot of stuff. Glamping folks do a lot of stuff.
Yes.
A lot of blacks don't do as much backpacking, but they do everything else.
Wow.
So.
Wow. But the other thing too is, COVID did raise the numbers in terms of people just wanting to do more and experience more, right? But I also think that on the backside, it's just exposure. You are getting at an age where you're like 40, 50, 60. Maybe kids are out of the house, you're about to retire or you've retired, and you want to do those things that you might have missed in your younger years, because you said like kickball, right?
Yes.
When we played kickball, right, it was almost like the athletes. It was almost like the athletes against the non-athletes, and so when the athlete would kick that ball, you're like, shit, I can't catch that ball.
Right.
But now that you're older, everybody wants to have fun, because it was only even with basketball, it was like certain people could only participate, but now you've got it where everybody can participate, and that's what I love about what you're doing.
Yeah.
What
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Butch, what is like marketing strategies for encouraging people? Are you just in the greater DC area, DMV, or where are you?
Well, we have affiliates in Charlotte, Raleigh, and Anderson, South Carolina.
Wow.
But those affiliates do mostly kickball.
Gotcha.
And I say that because it takes a lot for a black person to lead a hike and they've never done it before, or go camping.
Yeah.
So my affiliates will always say, "Well, Butch, I'm not familiar with that. I don't know what to do when I'm in the woods."
Yes.
And I always tell them, "I'll come down, I'll help you guys out." But for right now, those affiliates focus more on the sports.
Gotcha.
And of course, I do all the outdoor stuff, and I would love for them to get more into doing outdoor stuff. So that's. Go ahead.
But you can show people how to set up a tent. You can do mountain climbing and rappelling and build a fire. You can do all that stuff.
Yeah, we've done all that stuff, man.
But I mean, you teach all of that?
Oh no!
Oh.
I don't teach a lot of stuff there.
Gotcha.
Like I couldn't teach rock climbing. So
Gotcha.
what we do is we always go to indoor rock climbing gyms and we do that.
Okay.
Now I will say when we first started in the '90s, Green Bay was really set up to do stuff with kids and teens.
Yes.
But I realized very quickly that one, there were no black instructors
Yes.
to teach our kids, so the white instructors didn't know how to handle our kids.
Yes.
And two, the parents weren't receptive to letting their kids go camping because they didn't do it.
Gotcha.
So I said, I got to get these parents, I got to change these parents' minds
Yes.
first. So
Yes.
Green Bay for the first 10 years was focused just on the adults.
Wow.
And it took me a while to really get them on board. And probably 15 years after that, then I could start doing kids things,
Gotcha.
because now I have other black instructors who will teach rock climbing, who know how to go camping,
Yes.
or like backpacking. We did our first team backpacking trip this past fall.
Yes.
So, of course, all my leaders have been backpacking for 8 to 10 years now. So they know what to do,
Gotcha. And
So,
and because you never cancel, cold means nothing to you.
Oh, no, definitely not. Cold. I don't worry about cold or rain.
Wow, that's my man, man. That's my man, Butch. That's all right.
We've camped out in 20-degree weather before, and now we're getting more into doing hammock camping because tents are cool, but when you get older, sleeping on that ground is real tough,
Yeah.
So I haven't slept in a tent in probably 2 years now. I just take my hammock, set up on 2 trees, and I'm good to go.
Wait. You sleeping in the hammock at night?
Yeah.
Between. Well, I would have to put the tent still over me. I just.
Well, you ought to do that. They do have a thing called a rain fly.
Yeah.
One trip we did, it rained for almost 12 hours straight. And I'm telling you, man, me and these other 3 people, we had our hammocks. We stayed drier than the people who slept in the tent.
Yes.
So
wow.
it's no big deal now.
I used to be a Boy Scout, right? So
okay.
I enjoyed all that, but I remember this is funny. There was this funny time. It was we were at Pitt. It was me, John Carter, and and Vernon. We decided that before football camp was going to start, we're going to go camping.
Okay.
So we got our knives out. I went to J.C. Penney, got these hiking boots, and I mean, we were ready, right? We got a tent, everything. We made these tuna fish sandwiches. So I can't remember the state park we went to, right? We built a fire. So we thought, this is going to be nice weather. We're gonna be out there with other people. Well, Pittsburgh weather can change like that, right? And that's what happened. Mm-hmm. We got there. It was like maybe 60 degrees. Oh, we can handle this, right? We'll run around and have a good time. Well, as we were starting to bed down, the wind dropped about 30 degrees. We woke up in the morning. There was snow on the ground. So John, I think at some point John and Vern, they went to sleep in the car. I said, man, I'm gonna build a fire. I'm going to put all the food on the grill. We're going to cook this shit, and then we're going to leave. That's the end of our camping experience.
I know that's right.
Because we just weren't ready. We was just out there trying to leisurely camp, right?
Yeah, you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Even this weekend, we took this group out, and it was in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
And at night, and even I made this mistake. I left my sleeping bag, and I said, well, I have my little blankets. I could just cover in that.
Yeah.
And it dropped down to about maybe 38. And I was like, oh, shit, I wasn't prepared for this. But I knew before I got into my hammock, okay, I said, let me layer up, put on all my layers,
Yes.
I just happened to have some hand warmers in my bag. I said, okay, let me drop these in my hammock,
Yes.
and let me just get ready.
Now, when you in that hammock, how long can you sleep in that hammock? Like 4, 5, 6 hours?
Oh, you sleeping there all night. Let me say this to you, Kev. If you ever get a hammock, it'll be the best sleep of your life.
Are you serious?
The best sleep, I'm telling you. And you got to get a hammock, not the ones that you see at Target where it's wide.
Yeah.
These are the hammocks that kind of cradle you.
Got you.
And I'm telling you, man, you set that thing up in your backyard, and I guarantee you have the best sleep.
So you got to go to an outdoor place that's familiar with hammocking.
Well, or you can buy one off of Amazon.
Yeah.
Just set it between two trees.
Yeah.
Shoot. Which is also good because sometimes we've backpacked at places where we don't have that many flat spots to put our tents.
Yes.
And I always remember this one trip. I was a Boy Scout, and we went to this place. It was pouring down rain.
Yes.
And it was a rocky area.
Yes.
So we literally had to camp out on rocks. And I never forget that. I stayed up the entire night because it was just miserable.
Yes.
And I said, there's got to be a better way. Of course, 50 years later, fast forward, hammocks.
Yeah.
And I saw this young lady on Instagram.
Yes.
Her name was Hammock Gang or something.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So 3 years ago, I started doing this trip called Intro to Hammock Camping.
Yes.
So we've done it. This is the 4th year we're doing it. And people will come out, they'll bring their tents and their hammocks, and they'll try the hammocks, sleep in hammocks. And they realize, okay, this is not too bad. And I've had a lot of people that have just converted from tents to hammocks, man.
But they also have the additional equipment with them that if it rains or gets cold, they can withstand all that. Okay.
Yeah, we have a rain fly. You put the rain fly over. In the winter, they have these things called underquilts, which is like a quilt that goes underneath of it, and that's all they do now.
Now, do you guys do anything with bike riding?
Well, so there's a bunch of bike groups in D.C. So I said to myself, there's no need in me stepping on these guys' toes because I know all of them.
Yes.
Biking isn't for me. I'm good for 13 miles, but then my ass starts hurting, and I'm just like, okay. So I'd rather support them. Now, on our hammock camping trip, we do have a bike component.
Yes.
And basically, I just collaborated with We Ride DC. She does a lot of social bike rides, and she brings her group down, and we bike. But, not like the bike groups that go 20, 30 miles.
Got you. Because
I
was going to say, I would love to see you guys do something like biking and hiking. Where,
we did that.
Okay, you got your backpacks, you're riding, and you stop for the night, like that?
Well, what we did was we got to the campground, and this part of our hammock camping trip. So we do hiking in the morning, then we come back, eat lunch, then we do biking in the afternoon, then we come back and eat.
Okay.
But what you're saying is, like, I would love to do we're going to ride our bikes for 20, 30 miles, then camp out.
Yes.
So we're trying to put that together, trying to figure out the details of all that, because what I'm finding is that bikers aren't campers or hikers.
Gotcha.
The hike community and the bike community are two different communities.
Gotcha.
It's real funny. I'd rather hike 20 miles than bike 20 miles.
Got you.
And it's the total opposite with bikers, So
listen, I'm not neither, but I would call myself an outdoors person. So this let me tell you what would be my kicker, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Got my backpack on. I ride 10, 12 miles, right? Stop, set up camp, right? Bring out a good cigar, some tequila.
I know that's right.
Right, sit around the fire,
Right.
have a little dinner, go to sleep, wake up, and maybe drive and bike, another 10 miles. That would be cool for me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that works. But and that works right there. Yep, that definitely works.
Yeah.
So
hey, listen.
If you put it together, I'm gonna call you.
No. Listen, what would we call that? Smoke bike hike, something like that. Because I would be. Listen, I would be. Listen, I've got 3 people who would be interested in that right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I listen. When I used to have my cigar shop, right, on Sundays, on Sundays, right, they thought we were crazy. We would ride from Trenton to Princeton, right?
Okay.
Which is about 15 miles, right?
Okay.
Smoke a cigar up in Princeton and then ride back down.
How far is Princeton from where you started?
15 miles. That's all.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
And then,
Yeah, 15 is doable. 15 is doable.
And then sometimes, here we are, top-notch athletes. We're smoking and riding at the same
Oh
time.
no, that I ain't gonna do.
They's like, how you getting healthy? How you getting in shape? Just watch us.
Right. I can only imagine what that looks like.
Oh man, we had some fun, but yeah. So, I said, now before I ask this other question, now how does one go about becoming an affiliate?
Usually our affiliates happen in two ways.
Yes.
Usually it's someone who's from DC who moves to a different area.
Yes.
And they say, hey, Butch, we want to do Goombay down there.
Yes.
To me, that's the best type of affiliate because they've seen what we've done in DC.
Gotcha.
And they can easily replicate it in the other city like someone did for Atlanta and Charlotte.
Yes.
The other way is if someone reaches out to us and say, hey, look, I'm interested in doing an affiliate down here, whether it's kickball or whatever activity. Yes. And, we talk, I send them the affiliate package and they sign the paperwork and that's it. And I always try to maintain contact with them, over the years and, try to help them out. But initially, it's almost like a franchise where it's their company and, some things they're going to run their way, even though I'm like, I think you should do it this way. But, entrepreneurs, they have a way of doing things. So, I have to trust them,
Now, speaking of that, and this is a personal question, you don't have to answer. If the affiliate is almost run like a franchise, is there a fee associated with that process? Right.
Yep. Okay. There's a fee. There's a yearly fee. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's based on what they bring in.
Gotcha.
The first 2-3 years, you're not bringing in much. Like we have our affiliate down in let's say Anderson, South Carolina.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a whole different market in South Carolina. Yes. They're going to charge. We may charge $80 to play kickball. They're going to have to charge $45. Gotcha. So it's a different market.
Now, part of the franchise, do you ask that they maintain some type of insurance?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And they have to have insurance in order to get the fields and all that stuff.
Got you. Okay. Yep. Okay. Butch, listen, man. I am so proud of you. I'm so excited for you, man. Now, what you should do, man, is just open this flat out, man. Just open it after 30 years. Just open it flat out and just have multiple Goombay sites around the world, man. Right? Come on.
Well, I got to find the people who want to do it. The one thing that I've realized is that you have to have good people who have the patience and the business sense to start these things. Yes. We had a few affiliates that started off strong and then kind of teetered out, so you got to find those right people, man.
Let's do a big workshop, right?
Okay.
A one-day workshop in DC, right? Where you invite all these potential Goombay, right? Goombay aficionados.
Okay.
Or folks who are interested in that type of outdoor adventure.
Okay, I like that idea.
You're seeking outdoor entrepreneurs. Here's an outdoor entrepreneurial idea where you can franchise. Boom. Mm-hmm. And you get people,
like that idea.
People they'll come all over the country and they'll stay, one day with you, and you'll take them. You'll take them through the whole process. I want 10%, Butch. And
I know that as long as you come up and do the workshop.
Yeah. Listen, I'll help you with the workshop. We'll make sure everybody gets a business plan, and we'll do that, right?
Yeah, but I will say this: a lot of Black entrepreneurs who are into doing the outdoor stuff have definitely started their own companies. I personally have had 4 people who came through Goombay and were like, "Hey, I want to do my own thing. Yeah, I don't want to do Goombay, I want to do my own thing," and I respect that. And my thing is, okay, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you push it. Yeah. One young lady, she does nothing but glamping. I mean, car camping trips, and she's called Black and Camping. Big following now.
Wait. Mm-hmm. You go camping in your car?
Well, okay. So for me, when I say car camping, that means that you've gone to a campsite.
Oh, okay.
You can pull your car right up at the campsite.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
To me, that's glamping. That's luxury camp. Because I'm just a backpacker. So she's built a very good following. On car campers.
Yes.
My other friend who's started Destination Hike, she does a lot of hikes and destinations, different places,
Yes.
and I watch these people grow,
Yes.
and I realize that some entrepreneurs want their own thing and their
Yes.
own philosophy,
Yes.
but I would love to even try to do that whole workshop down here. That would be great.
Yeah, listen. You've got 30 years in, right?
Uh-huh.
You've got longevity. You've got credibility, right?
Right.
Let's build out the process, and folks would pay. You get you team up with a nice hotel, and they would pay $500 to come in for 1 day or 2 days just to meet you and see some of your pictures and how you got started. And here's the whole process, right? I can come in and tell them that these are the important elements of the business plan, or these are the important elements of the business that you're going to put together. Boom, boom, boom. Right? We go to a nice lunch. We go to a nice lunch. We have dinner.
Right.
And then after that, it's just a follow-up call. But if they don't come back, you still have collected $500 from these people.
That's true. That is true. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's the Goombay, it's the entrepreneurial Goombay informational session or weekend, right?
I like that.
And they can have plan, part B or part A or part B. Part A is they just come and see you and dinner and stuff like that, right? And then part B would be they come down, they see you, you give them a tour of DC, right?
I like that.
And now I got to throw this in for me. Then part C is where they come down, they have dinner with you, but then they hang out with me for cigars and tequila.
I know that's right.
That's right. And let's see how far you go camping after you have some cigars and tequila in you.
It's funny because we definitely bring the cigars and tequila on our camping trip.
Yeah, and the cigars keep the bugs away.
That's what they say, but I don't know.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make a difference. They enjoy smoking it.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But Butch, on the real, I think that the timing is right for you to explore those possibilities, right, man? Right?
Okay. No, I'm taking down notes.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Listen, 30,
and I'm gonna follow up with you.
30 years in, you got longevity, you got credibility before these other folks even started. So all you have to do is put together your plan, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And there's a old saying, but not really an old saying, but usually if you are the first to do something, even if they don't want to admit it, they always have to acknowledge you being the top dog, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. We hear that all the time when it comes to kickball.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not one to walk around, bragging or anything. But when I go to these tournaments, people look at me like, "Oh man, that's Butch. He started kickball back in 2002 or sometime, But but it's just interesting to hear that. I just don't look at it like that,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I often think about, and I may be wrong for saying this as an example, I often think about IBM.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Even though IBM is not in the top 5 now, right? You can't take anything away from IBM because they started all of this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Before the Dells and the Oracles, all those guys. So you cannot take away and you can't sleep on IBM.
Right.
Right. So that's the same thing. You've got 30 years in before folks even thought about this. You were the genesis as to how black folks should enjoy the outdoor life. And that's how you got to promote it, Butch. And come on, who am I talking to? You know how to promote this, man, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Black folks would talk about, I need to go in the woods if I kill somebody. But now you're saying, I'm black, we're going in the woods to have a good time, to enjoy ourselves.
Right, and get away from the city.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, I definitely appreciate the talk, man. And I'm writing this down, so I'm definitely going to follow up with you on that idea too.
And if you want me to, I wrote a little book. I don't talk about it too much. It's a business plan guide, a guide to the business plan. It's about 30 pages, man. I can email that to you, man, and it'll give you a guide. It's going to ask you all the questions that you need to have answered or thought through the process. Come on, man. Come on. That's what we do, right?
Send it to me, man. Send it to me. Sure. I'll take a look at it. I'll look at my old business plan on my old laptop I got sitting over here. Because I know it's on there.
Absolutely. But I want you to do me 2 favors, Butch. Here's the first favor. Give me, for those who are listening right now, give me the name of your business and how folks can contact you, and I want them to know that you are the chief CEO camper.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the business is Goombay Adventurers.
Yes.
Or you can say Goombay Adventurers Inc.
Yes.
You can reach me. I'll give you my cell number first at 202-210-1957. You can always catch me on Instagram at Goombay Inc. You can catch me on Facebook at We Love Goombay. Those are the two big ones. I mean, we have a lot of meetup groups, but meetup groups are named something different. Anyway, but that's the best way to catch me, man.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
And if you ever want to really find me, you just type in Goombay in Google, and it pops up. You know, Goombay Adventurers, or Goombay Kickball, or Goombay Camping. You know.
Now the other thing that I want you to do is to starting this evening, you know, release some more of those pictures from Pitt. and release some and tag me in some of those pictures and tag me in some of the Goombay activity, so that other folks that may not follow you would follow me to say, oh, Butch is doing some good stuff, man, right?
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, because here, listen, you are on to something fantastic, man. I just get excited that you are doing your passion, right?
Hey, yeah,
and
that's true.
We want to support you. We want to promote that, and this is the whole purpose of the Entrepreneur Enclave, to give you that platform to have this unabridged conversation where we can talk about some of the challenges that you had to overcome in order to be where you are and to be how successful you are. Right?
Okay, well, I definitely appreciate it. I definitely enjoy the conversation, and I love to listen to all your other conversations.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So,
yeah, you're doing a good thing.
Thank you, man. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to?
Let's see. Well, I know all the groups, the Black and Camping, Destination Hike, Soul Trek. Outdoor Afro is also a pretty big group right now, and they've done a great job of spreading the outdoor message among African Americans. But there's so many groups, man. I could be naming stuff all day, but definitely to my boys at Pitt, Big Tuck. Scotty Scott, Tony Tone, rolling with them for the past, 4 or 5 years at Pitt was definitely a learning experience for me, and even all the whole third floor crew.
Absolutely.
You, Eddie Mack,
yes, sir.
Mark, all y'all, Paris, everybody,
Yes.
So I kind of always will say I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, because they taught me, everyone taught me a certain thing,
Got you.
So I definitely appreciate that,
Now,
so, yeah.
Now, as soon as we finish this conversation, I've got a picture that you took of Tuck and I. It's in the snow, right? And I
remember that one. Yeah.
I think we either coming from class or going to class or playing hooky from class. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm gonna post that on my Facebook page, and I'm gonna tag you. I'm gonna tag you in it, man. But
all right, sounds good.
But nothing but love, nothing but continued success, man. I'm so glad that we had this conversation. It's not even an interview anymore. I'm just so glad that we've had this conversation, man. Nothing but success, brother. Nothing but continued success.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
And you too, man. You too. It's always good talking to you. And this is the first time we can talk without having those 30-inch woofers blasting in your room with Colonel Abrams, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But listen, Butch. I want you to seriously thinking about doing this 1 day, 2 day workshop in DC, where we are encouraging other entrepreneurs to look at your business model as a viable opportunity, man.
Okay, I got you, man. I'm definitely going to follow back up with you.
Yeah, and again, we can start off something simple, where it just becomes a dinner meeting. Doesn't have to be big and outrageous. It just becomes a dinner meeting where it's just for 3 hours. They come and get a nice meal, a presentation, boom.
Right. Okay. That sounds good. I like that.
Because you said you don't want to cancel, so we're not going to put ourselves out there. Look at me. I'm talking as I'm your partner. We not.
That's all right, man.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to put yourself out there, but you can start with 5 people, a simple dinner, and then after that, you move into a conference room and you talk about the opportunity that could be pursuant to them.
Right. That's good. Okay, sounds good.
Nothing but
all right,
love,
well, I'll stay in touch with you. Right. I appreciate it, man. You too.
Yes, let's talk and text later on, man. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Yes, sir.
You got it.
Peace, man.
That concludes another episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham. the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.